Boy, today permit me to brag about God for a little bit. When I say God, I'm not talking about the gods of the Amorites. I'm not talking about the gods of the Philistines. Neither am I talking about the gods of Baal. I'm talking about Yeshua HaMashiach. I'm talking about the one who stands up and lets the foundations of the earth shake. I'm talking about the God who told a man who was fatherless that he would become the father of many nations. And indeed, that prophecy came to pass. I'm talking about that God. I'm talking about that God who turned a man who was a killer of Christians to become a preacher of the gospel. I'm talking about a God that turns tables. I'm talking about the God who told a liar that he will be the rock upon which he will build his church, that the foundations of hate will not prevail against it. I'm talking about that God. I'm talking about the God who comes in different forms, like wind, like fire, and speaks in a whisper. I'm talking about that God. I'm talking about the God whose presence alone heals the woman with the issue of blood without touching her. I'm talking about that God. I'm talking about the God who met the woman at the well and said, I know everything about you. Just when you were formed in your mother's womb, I know. I'm talking about that God. I'm talking about the God who turned a shepherd boy to become the king of Israel. I'm talking about that God. I'm talking about the God who sends a stammerer to a king of Egypt to tell him that let my people go. I'm talking about the great I am. I'm talking about the God who divides the Red Sea into two, left and right, that his people may walk through and go to the land he has promised. I'm talking about that God. I'm talking about the God with whom Joshua spoke about and said, as for me and my household, we will serve the Lord. That is the Lord I am talking about.